That could be really bad. Dax trying to save him, Tep flashing out. But that's going to be Aphelios and Tep going down with the quickness, Galio ulti to sort of seal the deal. And BBZ are caught in the middle of danger. No members of HBK are going down. These team fights are HBK favored, and they're running it into the mid.
Game 3, everybody. Welcome to HBlock versus BBZ. We're looking at a match point. We're looking at a draft for match point between these two teams. This is going to be HBlock's charge towards grand finals and BBZ's clutch to hold on. I'm joined by Anti.
Hello, hello. Once again, we got that RLS Duo cast. Don't got War Leader this time, but if you stuck around from last season, you might hear some familiar voices.
Yeah, luckily we have, the next best option, obviously. We don't take you if we can prefer you, but we take what we can get. We take what we can get. HBlock will also take away what BBZ is going to try and get rid of that Yuumi, get rid of the Lucian. Obviously, that's very good options in the bot lane right now. We've also got the Heimerdinger taken out of HBlock's pool, which is interesting.
Yeah, Heimerdinger is a three-way flex for HBlock, so it's actually very imperative that teams take that off the table, because Cheetah plays it, Spears plays it, and I believe that they are wild enough of a team to make it work in the bot lane. They played it in the bot lane in their OPGGs. I'm not sure if they've done it on stage yet, though. So, yeah, they're trying to pinch Red's pool again, taking away the Jarvan from Dax, who he was doing phenomenal work on last game, honestly. And this is game 3. You're down 2 games. It's really hard to make the reverse sweep. But, there's no way BBZ make a 3-0 comeback from there.
Absolutely impossible. I mean, we've seen them be strong in this situation before. I think it's going to be up to them keeping themselves level-headed. That Jarvan was locked in from HBlock, and like you say, that is the takeaway from Dax. Dax is nominally strong on those kind of early presence junglers. He's really good at getting the ball rolling for BBZ. I think it's interesting how much pressure that HBlock has decided to put onto potentially Red or Tef in the bot lane, just taking those bans away. We do see Graves and Thresh locked in. Now that Graves obviously is a flex pick, could go into the jungle. I'm expecting it to be top lane. It seems like a bit of a Jaffe pick for top lane. And then the Thresh locked in for the support.
Yeah, and Thresh, always a good pick. Endeavor, something that, it's always something that you can fall back on, but it's not something that's hotly contested here. Kai'Sa hovered, interestingly enough. Kai'Sa has fallen a little bit out of favor lately, but Idri's more than happy to pick it up. Gonna be locked in. Kai'Sa Leona, just straight up. And, you got Graves, you got the Thresh, and what are we taking here? You could take a solo lane here and then ban away 2 of the counters, or you could respond in turn with your AD carries, which you already know are going to get pinched out here.
Yeah, I mean, seeing how much they've been pinched on ADCs already, you pick Kai'Sa, who's really, I think, at the current point in the meta, really only functions as a counter pick. Obviously, having the Leona there is nice, because you can get that early burst in, and they are going to lock in the Senna. I think that's a great option. It's going to force BBZ to try and get some damage outside of their other lanes. Obviously, Senna isn't the highest damage carry until quite late into the game with the soul stacking. Gets a lot of crit, gets a lot of damage, gets a lot of range. But more importantly, has that range advantage over Kai'Sa, which really allows her to bully. And I think that will cause problems in that bot lane. It's going to be, how can Leona find her way in? Are they getting attention from Jarvan? Nico made it through the first round completely unpicked and is going to be banned away by BBZ. I'm glad that they've taken that away, because we've seen how good Spears can be on that. And there's the Teemo!
Wild. I mean, honestly, while it's something of a bit of a troll ban, lately Teemo has actually been buffed a ridiculous amount, to the point where he's actually a straight up viable top laner. So this could be a real ban against Jaffe, and I doubt that they're expecting it mid. We'll have to see what the last ban is here, but that is 4 bans towards Spears, and they do not want Spears to carry this game. And, that Graves, still a flex pick, still incredibly strong. And, we could see Jaffe on it. That Irelia also leaves this draft incredibly nebulous, because we have seen Orphic playing it in the mid lane.
Yeah, and obviously they have been role swapping throughout the entirety of playoffs. So would not be impossible to see Orphic bot lane or mid lane. That Irelia, like you say, does flex between both of the solo lanes on 2 different players. So that doesn't really give anything away yet. I think that if they were going to put that in the mid lane, that leaves them kind of lacking on AP, and you're going into a Leona. I like the Renekton pickup as a potential counter into that Irelia. Just get some early lane presence. I don't know. It's really hard to draft right now from the perspective of HBlock to try and say, like, okay, what are we actually laning into? So take something safe. Obviously,
You just take something that can do all right into Irelia here, and I think you should be okay. But,
yeah,
we'll have to see. 1 second left on the clock. Gonna be the Syndra lock-in, which it does all right into Irelia, but the Syndra Irelia, the big thing about Irelia mid is that you're playing mid lane, it's not a 1v1 lane. So the 1v1 doesn't matter as much, and Syndra Jarvan, very scary for Irelia. Honestly, something where if you put Irelia in top lane, might end up being the better play. You got Graves to help Irelia out, and they're going to respond in kind with the Victor. I doubt this is going to be a Victor top. I'm pretty sure that they're just looking to equalize this mid lane, which honestly is a pretty scary pick from the side of BBZ. I think that they've got two relatively, you could say weaker early. It's just that I feel like HBlock have the counter picks in the mid and the top lane, but bot lane is really where it's going to shine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have that late game scaling of both the Victor and the Senna, and Irelia is no slump either going into those later stages, but it's going to be about getting there as they are going to try and set up that early game to be as safe as possible on the side of BBZ. I have to say that the Syndra, like you say, does function as a very strong 2v2, but if you look at those kind of mid-game team fights, Syndra is somebody who wants to be walked into, and the rest of her composition wants to dive forward. I think that could allow somebody like Jaffe to find their way in, find their way onto that Syndra, and cause a lot of problems for what is a very big damage source. Kaisa really won't be dealing too much damage unless she gets very far ahead because of the way that this composition is going to work. She's only really going to be able to hit either Graves or Irelia. And so if you're out of Syndra, you could be, out of a lot of trouble. I say that to flash forward from Prolupal to try and find the Zenith Blade onto Dax, but he is just going to grab the quick draw, get out of there, and that is flash burnt on Prolupal. Obviously not a huge deal. Leona can function on Hex Flash. I like that they went for that, though, trying to get some early prio and get maybe some kills onto either Spears or onto the Kaisa.
Yeah, and one of the big things here, they got the vision ward down, which means that they know that Dax is starting in this bot side, which, while Idris can't actually punish that hard as the Jarvan, even if you do vertical jungle, BBZ should be able to see it out. Dax wasn't able to back for the Korean sweeper, and Jita now knows exactly where Dax is going to be on the map. So in this matchup where Renekton will absolutely get the early push, it's very good for Jita here. Like, if I'm playing top lane in this game, I am loving this position if I'm Jita.
Yeah, and also you have your Jarvan starting on the top side. Obviously, Jarvan's very happy to go for those 2 or 3 camp ganks. Very proficient with them just because of, has that flag drag. That's all he really needs to find those scary ganks. Renekton does have that lockdown early in the game, so if he does run into any pressure playing into Jaffe's Irelia, which has been so good at lane, as we see immediately winning a trade up into that top side, does have the Jarvan on that side of the map already. Dax won't be able to be up there to respond, and it looks like that is exactly what's happening as Idris starts to make their way up the river towards Jaffe. I don't think Jaffe has a ward down for this. Yeah, it doesn't have a ward down. Is stacking the Q. No. Does look for the engage now. Misses the E. Jita's still level 1 now. Jaffe in a 2v1 in the top lane does get caught out. The flash is burnt from Idris. Jaffe taken so low as he does flash away the flash follow from Jita, and the level 1 Renekton's able to pick up the Q, and that is first blood to HBlock.
Yeah, it's that classic Jarvan cheese that we all know and love. Like I said, if you know exactly where the enemy jungler is starting, it's very little to do with their jungler punishing the other jungler. It's so much more about your lane.
Yeah, and I like that rotation into the top side of the jungle. You don't have the priority there, as Jaffe's already burnt the flash, does go down and decides not to burn TP, but it has put Idris a little bit behind on the clear as a result. Was maybe hoping that Dax hadn't gotten to his top side yet, but he had, and that does put Idris a little bit behind on the clear. I think he'll take that, though, with the gank top side, and now Red getting engaged on in the bot side by Prolupal. No damage out from Aquarius yet, and a great hook down from Tef, getting up the Kaisa down to about half HP. The Hail of Blades is not able to give the trade advantage there, and Red is able to chase, grabbing multiple souls off of that, which obviously Red loves those trades on the Senna. Just gets him a little bit further ahead, gives him a little bit of extra AD, gonna get that crit chance and that range rolling, and that's a very positive trade for BBZ.
Yeah, and Orphic, honestly, not in a great spot here in this mid lane. A little bit down in CS, should be able to pick some up in time, but getting poked down repeatedly. And it seems...
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Flash forward, but he does get caught out. The cleanse is already burned, but the ignite will tick down and will take him out. The Jarvan's already here. Is Tef going to be able to find his way out of it? There's no flash available. This surely will just be a pickup 2v2. Such an aggressive and unnecessary play from BBZ. They had the advantage already. They already had the lane frozen. They didn't need to walk that far forward. It was completely unnecessary, and they get punished for it.
Yeah, and as you see, they're just pushing out the spot wave. They have a great freeze here. I don't think you really need to pull up this far. And Red wants to pull the wave here, gets Hex Flashed on. Wow, what a Zenith Blade.
Yeah, great Zenith Blade off of the Hex Flash. You don't need to walk that far forward to freeze the lane. Obviously, you have access to both of those bushes if you want to drop and regrab minion aggro. Just keep them in place. There was no reason to do that. They were checking for something way too aggressive. They didn't have any minions available. They put themselves too far forward, and I think that could just be that mental that's been hitting them so far. Obviously, being down 2 games is a really scary and stressful spot to be in, and I think that might be showing in the spot lane. They had a good trade early, and maybe they were trying to push an advantage they didn't have yet.
And Jaffe, honestly, kind of chilling here. A decent amount of experience on Jaffe, has the experience lead somehow. And, oh, Cheetah going right in here, but Dax is right around the corner.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to try and take this game. Now Jaffe is already below half HP. The smoke screen does come down, slowing Cheetah down. There is no flash available on this Crocodile, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any catch there. The red buff does slow down, but Jaffe was just unable to find that engage immediately and is going to have to back off to the wave, but that should be XP and gold in the advantage of Jaffe there. Really shouldn't hurt too badly. They do see ProLuple up on this top side, which should give the pressure to BBZ to pressure bot side. There's no Rift Herald available as Dragon is spawning soon, so it should be a rotation from BBZ to get down to the bot side, although they might need to help their top laner now. Jaffe caught under tower. The Krugs will reveal where ProLuple is. Looks like there may be a dive up in the top side. They do know he's here, but there's the TP in from Spears. Jaffe stunned up onto the tower. The Zenith Blade and the Q comes through. There is going to be nowhere that Jaffe finds his way out of there. ProLuple tanking up the full tower damage. And it's a very clean dive, like you say, from HBlock.
Yeah, and, that's the textbook dive. You have to back there if you're Jaffe. And Dax in a not great position here. Gonna get the counter TP up. And Jaffe looking to get the return kills, but this is still a 2v3.
Yeah. But look at the rotations. Here comes Orphic from the mid lane. Here comes Tef from the bot lane. Spears has flash available and probably will take it over the wall there. Yes, they do commit forward to that. The hook does not find a target. And it looks like it will just be the disengage from HBlock, but look at how many resources BBZ put up there to try and match, and they find nothing.
Yeah, unfortunate from BBZ, and it seems like they're not going to have the inner track on the Dragon. They get nothing out of that play, and HBlock are in such a good position here.
Yeah, they've already found themselves a very good lead. CS in the bot lane is basically even. It's pretty good across the map, but they have the 4 kills. They should be able to take the Dragon advantage. They have the early game composition, but this is what you expect. This is what should be happening from HBlock, and it's going to be, can BBZ recognize we have the scaling, we don't need to push for any sort of crazy advantage, let's just slow the game down from here. It's only 6 minutes in, we don't need to go for anything crazy. Find advantages, go for the 3v1 kills, 4v1 kills, whatever it's going to take. Give away the couple early dragons, but no, it looks like they're going to end up playing aggressive. Flash from ProLuple does not land. Now, can they turn this fight? Tef walking forward does have a big XP disadvantage in that bot lane. Looks like it's going to be nothing. But can BBZ slow this game down? That is going to be their ticket to success this game. They have the scaling in all 3 of their lanes, and it's going to be up to HBlock to try and pressure them to make mistakes and find an opening early.
Hey, Escape.
Indeed.
What does Ruby Crystal build into for Senna?
That's going to be Divine Sunderer.
Oh, lordy. I am not a fan.
No, I wouldn't take that build either. Now, obviously, Senna has a couple builds access to her. The Divine Sunderer and going for a little bit more of a tanky build is an option. That's about all the credit I would give it. You can also go for a Kraken Slayer build that scales kind of late. It does have some good damage. If you can get to those later stages, the lethality build is a lot more supportive. It can get her some damage earlier on into the game, but it does not scale into this hyper scaling crazy ADC. But instead, we have the Divine Sunderer to take down the tanks of HBlock.
Yeah, I mean, either way, Sunder is not a bad item per se, and it does allow Red to get, that healing off for themselves in these fights. Very quick, short trades. And one of the things we do see up here in the top lane is that Jita is itemizing very defensively, going for the plated steel caps rush, looking to go into the Bramble Vest, which honestly is textbook play into facing Irelia as pretty much any champion in the top lane, as long as you don't have a range advantage.
Yeah, but it is what we are going to see from that. It is going to shut down this laning phase. Jaffe has been very dominant so far, although is 0-2. That's been mainly from jungle support. Jita's been really struggling to match Jaffe in this top lane, but that will take away a lot of that prowess that Renekton has in the early stages of this game, building full defensive, and that's kind of a win for Jaffe. If you agree with me there, like forcing the Renekton to build defensive is going to be really good. We do see 2 ganks being set up right now in the top lane. Looks like Dax is going to be the first to strike here, catching up with Jita. Jita is level 6, does have the ultimate available. It looks like they're just going to miss their resources and back off. And it is up to Idris to see if he can do better with the pressure that he has mid lane. Orphic does see them on the pink ward. Looks like it's just going to be the rotation to Dragon.
Yeah, and Jarvan just going to rotate on over. Oh, Proluple coming in here.
Yeah, can't catch a break in this game. The flash does have to be burnt out of Orphic there as the EQ did land from Syndra, but looks like it's just going to be a quick disengage and maybe refocus back onto that Dragon now from H-Block.
Oh, wow. Spears is just absolutely hitting everything here. I don't know if I've seen Spears miss a skill shot this game.
Yeah, a bit of an aggressive walk up there in the bot lane. I don't think they need to look for that too much, but yeah, no, Spears having a very good showing on the Syndra so far. Hasn't really done too much in that mid 2v2 that, we look for with Syndra. Does have the E and just gets so much damage. The ultimate does come down. Orphic's very low. The stun does not land from the W. Orphic now running forward. Doesn't have much mana there, and Spears does, taking the Syndra so low, but Spears is able to just barely walk away, and it looks like it's just going to be a trade of ultimates. No summoners burnt from the pair of them, and no kills picked up either. And it is there with Dax to push in the mid lane, so that is a small advantage to BBZ.
While it doesn't necessarily look all that great for BBZ in the overall state of the game, we're at 10 minutes. It's about a 1.5k gold lead for HBK. BBZ have a ridiculous amount of scaling on this composition. The biggest problem that they do have is their low range, and their only engage is going to be the Irelia or random Thresh hook. But, you got Graves, who, once you hit that late game, you get the critical Graves Master. Senna, who literally infinitely scales. Thresh, who, well, he's always going to be good. Also, technically, he literally infinitely scales, but don't worry about that. Victor is no slouch in the late game, and Irelia only gets stronger.
Yeah, and it's going to be, do they play to that advantage there? There's the just an overextension here from Red. Doesn't have any mana left over. Everything gets burnt out of Proluple there, but they don't pick up the kill. Very wide on the Void Seeker there from Aquarius. Now, are they going to go for this dive onto Red? He does not have the HP or the mana to be staying right now. This feels very greedy. There's the Flay coming through. Is there going to be a hook follow-up? No. They know Idris is here, and they have to back off.
And Red looking for that back here. Proluple just going to help Aquarius go ahead and push out that wave, and Cheetah, once again, still trying to just equalize this lane, which, while Renekton is very good into Irelia, I feel like so much of it is from the aggressive early, and you're losing out on so much power here. Spears getting engaged on.
Over the wall. There's the TP into counter right now, and will Jita get canceled out of the top lane? Yes, he does, but there's no communication there. They decide not to re-engage onto Spears, but that is TP burnt for pretty much nothing, honestly, out of BBZ.
And BBZ, honestly in a good position. Orphic is about, 21 CS away from hitting a first big power spike. Jaffe's got no mana. Really no business staying up here right now.
Yeah, it does get engaged on by Jita. A lot of damage comes out, but it looks like Jaffe's going to be comfortable to just walk away. There's Proluple is in the top lane to see the rotation also from Idris. Now, do BBZ realize that these members are missing? Yes, looks like Jaffe's taking the safe back off, going back to that tier 2. There's no Rift Herald effect there, but it looks like the flank is going to come up from Tef. Looks like Aquarius has sensed this and gotten so much damage down onto Red. Here comes my God. Place him out of the ultimate. The Killer Instinct does not get to come through. Kill picked up by Dax, but now Spears here for the cleanup. No, Spears is forced to back off. There's the Rift Herald down here in the bot lane, and that is a great play from Tef to keep his ADC alive and some momentum finally to BBZ.
Yeah, and you watch here, Tef, what a phenomenal play, saving Red's life there. And Dax right around the corner. The ulti from Senna going a bit wide because, they're not too sure if she's going to actually die there. But, everything's all good. Got the Rift Herald coming down, and Dax is very quietly scaling up to that critical Graves Mass, and Jaffe going right in here.
Yeah, looks like he's caught on top. He just managed to pick up the kill. Now it's going to be a 2v2. Orphic is half HP now, but does drop the W down, which will zone them off. The EQ comes in from Jarvan and gets an immediate kill, and the quick pop from the 1-2 there from Idris. So much damage out of that Jarvan in the early game. What looked good for BBZ goes bad, but they got so many plates on the bot side. Overall, very good cross-mapping from both teams.
Very good play from both teams, cross-mapping there. Jaffe going in, a little bit ambitious, but it looked so good for a short moment. Unfortunately, Idri's going to, get the re-engage, the EQ flag drag right back onto Orphic, and Orphic is still 11 CS off of that Death Laser augment upgrade, and, Victor really, really needs that CS, really needs those takedowns, because until you get those, you're just really not a champion yet. Until you get 100 CS for that first augment, Victor can't do enough.
I mean, I think it is a little bit stunted by Siege Minions. I think you do get a couple extra points, but you're right. He really does need that initial upgrade and has not been matching Spears on the CS and is not currently matching Spears on the Roam now, as Red and Tef appear to be in a 2v3 in the bot lane, but Dax is just over the wall. Is HBK going to overcommit here to a dive? They don't really have the option to. Note they just take the plate. That is a good sense there. They realize that they do not know where the enemy jungler is, and that is just gold over to HBK from that rotate. And is Orphic going to be able to punish the rotation from Spears right now? They don't really have the vision control, and I think that has been a big part of why... Yeah, finally getting that upgrade. But a big part of what's been hurting BBZ is just this lack of vision control. They haven't been able to track Spears. They haven't been able to track Idris, and now Jito on the map, unable to track him.
But one big thing that we do see here, Orphic kind of walking around looking to make something happen in bot, getting engaged on.
Or there's the Solar Flare, does not connect with the stun, and now the Leona is in very deep. The hook comes through from Tef, does manage to barely escape there. Orphic with the triumph. Is he going to survive the ignite? Looks like he is, as they do find the re-engage, but
oh my god!
4v3, there's no Jaffe down here. The Renekton's already here as Orphic so low, having to flash away from Jita. Red and Tef both go down, and now Dax is in the middle of nowhere, does manage to pick the kill up on Aquarius, but that is a killing spree over to Idris, and now Jaffe is here, but he's here very late, looking for maybe to take this 1v3, but do you have the ability to, missing the E onto Spears, and I don't think there's any way in.
Ulti's almost up.
They do want to take this dragon fight. I think the ulti is available now. It does come out. Going on to Idris. The dragon is so low, but it does get picked up by the Q. Now the engage onto Orphic as he does go down. A Cataclysm comes down on top of Jaffe, who surely won't find a way out of this and unable to pick up a kill. BBZ delivers 2 extra kills along with HBlock's dragon, and now they pull up a large lead.
Yeah, and HBlock are in such a good position after that fight, and it was looking so good. Orphic got a little bit greedy there, but they turned it around. They got an early kill off of that, but then the re-engage from HBlock made sure that they couldn't get anything out of that fight. And
yeah, it seemed like a little bit too much. It didn't really need to go for any kind of re-engage there. They'd already lost the 4v5 without Jaffe being there, and that's just the case of not having Pyro in the top lane. I don't think you can go for that dragon. They don't need to be going for dragons right now. It's a Cloud Soul. Obviously, they don't know that going into that, but you know that it's not going to be Infernal. You know that's not going to be Ocean. Whatever you're dealing with there, it's not going to be game-ending. You can afford to let that second dragon drop, and you need to as the scaling composition. And instead, they give HBlock a little bit of a window, and they take it huge, and it looks like that might be what they use to start breaking this game open for them.
Yeah, and like we said, it's a scaling composition. Jaffe was almost, beating Jita straight up in the 1v3 in the top lane, right? And Jaffe doesn't even have the Blade of the Ruin King completely finished yet. Jita didn't finish that Bramble Vest. And, this team is just about to get online, and they're fighting right before these big breakpoints, unfortunately, and it's kicking them in the butt.
Yeah, just a little bit of impatience from BBZ, and we've seen HBlock able to punish that in the past. I say this now, there's 2v2 in the top lane. Idri's looking to get on top of Jaffe, does not have the ultimate available, but neither does Jaffe. Looks like he's just going to go down, and now Dax is caught in the 2v1, does not have the damage to win this fight, is going to try and look for something, but there's nothing there, and a solo kill picked up in the mid lane from Spears onto Orphic. Every side of the map looks bad right now, but Tef might try and find the hook. Does the hook land onto Prolupal as he does pull them under the turret, half HP onto both these HBlock members, but it looks like that's going to be it from this bot lane. Instead, it is just 3 kills over to HBlock as this game snowballs further out of the reach of BBZ, and their playoff hopes start to drown out.
Solar Flare's still on board for Prolupal, so they could be looking to make a dive here. Oh, yeah, TP coming out.
TP into the bot lane, flash out a little bit late from Red, but is able to escape the Zenith Blade. It looks like there's going to be no dive after that missing. There's no mana on the Senna, though. So looks like, yeah, HBlock is just going to back off. Prolupal just taking the health bar disadvantage. rotating away. They did get the TP out of Jita, but no, it looks like Jita's walking around, maybe looking for something. Dax is here, but he's kind of, you know, he's going to be late to the party if they do decide to go for this dive. There's no defending this turret now. Jita finds the engage onto Tef. Dax is over the wall. Tef down to half HP. Ultimate comes out. The Dawning Shadow keeps Tef alive. Ult in from Kaisa into the backline. She gets taken so low from the Senna damage. It looks like BBZ very, very close to picking up all 3 of these kills, but they get absolutely nothing. It is a 2 for 0 so far. Jita going quite deep underneath the turret to try and pick up the kill onto Red, but isn't going to get there. Now, we pan to mid lane. Orphic caught in a Cataclysm with Idris, unable to deal any damage to each other. Orphic, it does not deal much to Idris, and Idris was simply stunned up. That is instead just 2 kills, 2 more kills for H-Block onto the bot lane.
Yeah, and this is looking so bad for BBZ here. You know, you're already down 0-2, and now there's almost a 10k gold lead before 20 minutes into the game, and I don't know about this one.
Semifinal so far has been cursed with a bunch of 3-0s, and it has to be up to BBZ to finally break that and bring this to a game 4, but H-Block is looking so strong. They've been way more decisive. Their TP plays have been some of the best I've seen all year out of any of the leagues. Both Luna and Helios, they have not been able to match this map pressure that has come out from ProLupal and from Spears. There's the final outer turret dropping, and this gold lead now, 8,000 at 18 minutes, is very hard to surmount, even though you do have that scaling.
And as we can see right here, you know, Jaffe still relatively strong, but, you know, not strong in comparison to the enemy team per se. That Bork is just around the corner, level 11, got a decent amount of CS under their belt, and, you know, while Jaffe's doing okay at 1 in 5, this is just looking so unfun for the side of BBZ here.
It might be a little bit of a catch. This is a simple skirmish over the blue buff. I don't think anything's going to come of it, which is, you know, about what should happen now. 24 seconds spawning on this dragon. I have to do this every time. Red decided to go for Triforce on Senna. I should say this saying that my preferred build is going for Youmu's and Eclipse. Gives you the extra damage, gives you the extra healing, lets you be the better support player. Tef walking up for the face check now and is going to get locked up now. Idris looking for the engage onto Red as Tef does fall. Dax now in the worst position of anybody as he dodges out of that solar flare, but the Zenith Blade does connect. Dawning Shadow over the top isn't going to pick anything up, but now they're going to rotate onto Red. They've forgotten he was there, but he showed himself too early, and that is a rampage for Idris, and they walk away from the dragon and say, you know what, if you're going to give us 3 kills, we might just take your turret.
And a shadow truly being cast over the entire team, as it seems that BBZ are just in what seems to be an almost insurmountable deficit here. And, you know, Gia, they're going to take down the tower. Orphic getting stunned up, and, you know, just going to continue to clear out those waves, but it looks like it's just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, just trying to slow this game down as much as you can, but this is the gold lead you need. You can't be facing at this point. This is exactly what BBZ needed to avoid, but they tried to make some rash plays instead of just playing this game slowly, and it's understandable. They're probably, you know, kind of in their own heads at this point. You're down 2-0. You're worried about watching the end of your playoffs. And that has been what's been bringing them down further and further so far. I need to finish up by saying, once again, Red building the rapid fire cannon. I don't agree with this build. I'm sure that he'll have words for me on it, but I don't think that is the right option now. Jaffe just escaping the Zenith Blade.
Honestly, the rapid fire cannon at this point, you know, is relatively high value, because, you know, you have to get those long range autos off, because at least you're getting something off in a team fight. Is the reason why Triforce is something that you do want to go for is every single time that you finish a mythic item, you get more cooldown reduction, more AD, and I think more attack speed. So this is very much a Q Senna build, right? Where ability haste, attack damage, and move speed. So, like, basically, the way how this build works is every single time... Oh, wait, hold on.
You're not allowed to make that point, as now Orphic is caught out in the bot lane by Idris, who's out of mana, unable to drop the Cataclysm, but will he need to? There's the face rush, and will just walk out of there. It looks like he is going to be safe for that rotation. They do see 2 on the bot side now. Is there going to be pressure out of BBZ to try and find some play onto ProLupal, or onto Aquarius, who has walked way too far forward, does get flayed up. Red dodges the solar flare, and now Aquarius taken very low and is shut down. Dax looking for a second kill now. This is breathing life into BBZ as they do pick up the double kill onto Dax. And is there going to be a desperation? I think you might have to try Baron here, even though it is in such a horrible position. We do see this replay though.
All right, and Spears coming over. Orphic caught shopping, you know, just gonna get QE'd from Spears. And, that's what relatively unfortunate, but that's so much time spent from the side of H Block to take down, the 1-in-3 victor. That's cool and all, but, your Kai'Sa just went down, your Leona just went down, and BBZ are showing signs of life here. And once again, Red, with that Triforce build, is very much itemizing towards the I'm going to support my team, I'm going to spam Q as much as possible. And IG is going right in here. Flash available from Red.
Yeah, they do decide to take the engage onto Red. Dawning Shadow over the top once again, getting those shields down, but Dax's health bar is going down even faster. Red doesn't realize he's caught out by the TP of Spears, as the EQ surely will connect. No, sidestepped out by Red. That is crucial. Now, Jita chasing down the poor Thresh of Tef, trying to find his way out of that. There will be no escape from the Crocodile, and that is kill picked up for H-Block. 2 more kills into the pocket, and they look like they're just going to take that rotation to Baron.
Yeah, it feels like H Block, they're just gonna. They already saw that, oh shoot, if we give, BBZ a way back into this game, we might just screwed over here. Oh, Cheetah, hold on, didn't get the memo.
Yeah, might this be some way for them to find their way in? It would have been a 500 gold shutdown. Instead, it is a 5-minute cooldown out of the Renekton. Proloop will find the engage. This is very aggressive, given he has no team around, but does BBZ know that? Looks like Orphic is bidding no. Jita getting caught out by Jaffe in the mid lane, but the Baron falls. And now they realize what they were getting baited into, as now Jaffe has to back off here. Zenith Blade is available. They will not take it. Void Seeker does connect onto Jaffe, but I don't think that would be a very aggressive play out of Kai'Sa right now. But the Baron is picked up, and the 10,000 gold lead just shadows over BBZ's head.
Yeah, and this is, it's 22-6, right? And at this point, all BBZ can really do is group up together and try to deathball. Right, it's the same thing that we saw in past seasons where, BBZ with a gold lead, ridiculously terrifying team to play against. BBZ from behind, sometimes they have trouble, getting back on their footing, getting that death ball rolling, and Idri's getting so much vision down that it's honestly going to be really difficult to do.
Yeah, they are trying to set up ahead of time. There's the 3-man flank, but they don't cover the one exit that Idris decides to take. And now Jaffe's there alone in the mid lane, like you say, getting that vision control set up already is H-Block. Quite a bit ahead of that dragon play, but they're going to have time to reset. It's not going to be a very big deal. Right now, BBZ, they need to find picks. They cannot afford to try and go for this fight. They're going to have to give over the soul. That should be okay. Obviously, it's going to give a lot of engage for H-Block to get on top of the entirety of BBZ with that Solar Flare giving speed, with the Killer Instinct giving speed. It'll make it difficult to disengage, but what they need to do right now is they need to try and say, like, okay, who do we see right now? Can we find anybody on the map? We see Jita's on the map. We see the Kai'Sa maybe alone mid lane. Okay, we see 3 of them bot side. Can we find Kai'Sa? Can we find Spears on the top side? Instead, they find the hook onto Jita. And now BBZ just trying to find some kind of gold. They need to find a pick.
Yeah, Jaffe looking here, getting the stun onto Prolupal, unsteady right now.
Here's the rotation. 5 people here from BBZ as they do miss the hook onto Idris. That is so unfortunate. Would have been a very good pickup to take the jungler down right now, but they do have 5 people on the spot side, and if you don't make that 5v4 work, what do you know? Pressure from Spears into that top lane. They will end up dropping another turret, surely, with this Baron buff empowered push. And yes, Spears is going to be able to take it down. That's 600 gold into the pocket of that Syndra. And now you've rotated too many people to respond. And another inner turret surely to fall as Idris threatens the incoming engage. The Solar Flare did miss, but the Cataclysm can't. Tef having to flay off of their AD carry. Tef does finally go down. The Dawning Shadow isn't able to save him. And now Red caught walking too far forward, unable to use the max range of that Senna. And there is the Killer Instinct from Kai'Sa, smelling blood and going into the base. But it might be his own now, as Dax does pick up the kill onto the Kai'Sa, but it is a 2v4. Orphic caught in the 1v1 is unable to pick up Jid as it survives on the smallest amount of HP. Jaffe unable to do anything in the 3v1 in the base. And now Orphic on the wrong side of his turrets, as this is a 4-4 or 5-for-1 in favor of H-Block. No, 5-for-2, as Prolupal deciding to donate the second kill.
And once again, the only ones going down in that fight are the Kai'Sa and the Leona, the 2 that we've known are mortal in this game. And, Spear sitting here at 7-0 on this Syndra, so much AP. And Orphic and Jaffe getting so close to putting out that damage, but just unfortunately just slivers away every time. It feels like this game's sitting on a knife's edge, but unfortunately, the ones holding the knife are H-Block, and they absolutely know how to use it. They're twisting it right in.
Yeah, the 13k gold lead, really, you can just win with your wallets at this point. The scaling in theory, does eventually favor BBZ. But that is when the items match. That is when there is some... there isn't a massive discrepancy between the gold income right now. As we see bot lane, there is an item difference between the supports. There is an item difference between the AD carries. There is nearly an item difference, effectively an item difference between the mid laners, as there's 2 components. There are so many large leads on the side of HBlock right now that they do not have to worry about what BBZ is going to try and do. An item and a half in that top lane. And it's just all up to HBlock about when they decide to make this killing push.
Yeah, and honestly, one thing I just want to shout out, with Red's build right now, it's very itemized towards a supportive Senna, has absolutely nothing to do with her doing any damage. You already have an Irelia, you already have a Graves, you already have a Victor, all of which are building full damage. That's going to be a shield bow on the Irelia instead of a Gore Drinker. So this is like very much a team itemized for damage. So I totally understand Red's reasoning behind the build here. I honestly don't think Kraken Slayer would change anything at this point.
But your healing scales off of lethality. You get more healing for more lethality. I'll never let that go. Obviously, build that works for Red is going to work better for Red than Red's build is going to work better for me. At this point, it's really not the Senna's build that is costing them right now. It's been the macro genius plays out of HBlock that have gotten them these advantages so far. They have a 5-0-15 Jarvan that has been so instrumental, as Idris has the confidence to jump into the middle of 3, does get taken down to half, but has that stopwatch there, and now Jita is there for the supports. The ultimate comes out from Jaffe. Will he be able to find his way onto Spears, who does get hooked, a 1,000 gold shutdown onto Red, and now HBlock has to be in retreat mode. There is the hook available from Tep, and that is number 2 picked up. No, surviving off of the Gore Drinkers. The fight does immediately get turned, and there's that wallet difference that we were talking about. Unable to kill the Renekton through the Gore Drinker and the Q, and now it is HBlock cleaning up the remaining members of BBZ. They will decide to take the fight. They will decide to take the fight and win the game.
Yeah, and it was looking so good for BBZ. It looked like a miracle team fight was in their hands, in their grasp, and it was so close. But unfortunately, from the side of HBlock, you got humongous wallets. I'm just gonna slap them with that 15k gold lead. And it looked so good, but unfortunately, BBZ are gonna be bowing out here in the 3rd game of the series. Oh, Proluple gonna go right in. Idri's still tanking the tower.
Yeah, they're not too bothered right now. They're going to look for the kill onto Tef. Proluple not really low enough to be worried, although hold on, 3 people are up from BBZ. Now, can they keep this last Nexus turret alive? That is instrumental, as there was the bot lane turret falling. In theory, this game does not actually go down. A little bit of over-aggression onto the support player there from HBlock means that BBZ will get to breathe through one more fight, but I don't know how they find their way back in.
Honestly, it's really going to rely on HBlock making mistakes like that Jarvan engage from before. But we do see that the shield bow is fully completed on the side of Jaffe. Red does have the Rage Blade fully completed. We got Orphic on the Sheen Power Spike. Not too much on the side of Orphic, honestly. But they have hit some form of power spike. So the next time that HBlock make a mistake like that, it could honestly be punished a lot harder, right? Because these champions are doing more damage.
They were so close to actually taking a win on that fight in that last one, and if HBlock slips up again, that will be the opportunity for BBZ to find this. They're currently flipping the Baron. This is the best chance for BBZ to find their way back into the game. This is the only thing HBlock could do to find their to lose this game. 2,000 HP on the Baron. Dax is unable to find his way into the pit, as now there is a 2v3 in the bot side. Jaffe whiffs the ultimate. There's 21 HP. The Baron does go down. Senna has already fallen, and there is no way that BBZ will be able to turn this. I say that, but no, Spears is here. They will just slap the wallets one more time. There's so much damage out of that Syndra, out of that Jarvan. 6-0 and 23 as he will walk into the base. The King victorious. Idris taking this team, putting them so far ahead. This has been his game. Spears was there for the damage. It will be the final kill picked up by Jita, and surely this time, HBlock will be making their way to the finals against Yubi for Luna.
Yeah, and really well played from the side of HBlock. They took so many coin flip fights, but they just kept winning them by those small margins. And, 31 minutes in, 33-11, H Block is going to take it in a deciding victory, looking incredibly scary for UB up in these finals.
That was macro that I don't think I've ever seen UB match. I think that was a win that was taken so decidedly there from H Block that, maybe individual macro decisions, I think that had to be the best I've seen this season out of any team, I would say, specifically there. And that is a scary opponent if you're UB. That is somewhere that UB really relies on being better in order to get their advantages. They need to make sure that the rotations are ahead. And if teams are able to match that where they have struggled in the past, H Block looks phenomenal going into that final set, as of course so does UB. They finally have their full roster going back. I think that will be a phenomenal set to watch.
Yeah, and don't go anywhere, because we're going to be seeing an interview with the winners, and we'll see how they're looking to come up on UB. We'll see how things go.
Strongest performance and player that BBZ's really shown is really Jaffe, as he just gets all the resources, and it feels like Jetta can just beat him anyway. Weak side, strong side, we just have the better top. Shout out to BBZ. They're great guys, willing to scrim with us before their playoff run. They really put in a lot of prep work against us with their better bands, and we'll do the same and give all the respect to them as well.
All right, folks, Chris Edgeworth here for tonight's interviews, and I'm joined tonight by the victorious Team H Block. We have Idris here and Jita from the top and jungle. Talk to me a little bit, folks, about how are you feeling after that decisive 3-0 victory?
All I'm gonna say is we feel fucking great right now. Like, we knew like the games weren't gonna be that hard, but having it be a 3-0 stomp just made it like so much better for us. I think Jetta can agree to that.
Yep. All of us can wake up for our classes in the morning tomorrow.
True.
No sleep diff today. Respect. Nice. So let's talk about this series. Let's work our way through this. But before we get into that, I mean, coming into game one, what was the prep like for this game? And then talk a little bit, if you would, about game one. This was very strong from you folks. This was the Viego Lee Sin matchup for you folks, if I'm remembering correctly. Talk to me a little bit, if you would. We'll go Jita and then Idris about your thoughts coming into this series, and then how you were able to get this big win to start the series.
So coming in this game, we were like trying a bunch of different things on Flex. Like I was trying to learn like some more top laners because I kept getting fucking gapped by Jaffe. And I don't know. And then we were trying to figure out our identity, right? Like how we should play the game and what's our win con. Because we weren't playing scrims against them, we were like trying out a lot of stuff, and we ended up getting like O2'd. But due to those losses, we found out like how we should play the game and worked on our teamwork a lot during those like weeks we had off. And I don't know.
Idris?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Jit over here. We scrimmed BBZ during like our break. They're the only team we had time to scrim because we're all in university. We're all like still students and shit. But they wiped the floor with us like in scrims. Like they played scrims really well, but we didn't really take it as serious as we did with the actual playoff games or the actual quarterfinal games that we just did. I feel like we prepped so much more. We had like we analyzed like all their picks. We knew what to ban like way beforehand. We knew like what we were gonna pick beforehand too, and like what would happen if they banned like our core champions, and it all worked out in the end. They banned exactly what we wanted them to ban.
And Jita, I want to ask you a more specific question about these matchups in these three games. So in game one, you and in game three, I should say, you were on the Renekton, and not only that, but with the Gore Drinker. What are your thoughts on the changes to Renekton in this season, and especially with how he is with Gore Drinker after the changes?
I think he's still a fine pick top lane. I mean, like, the Gore Drinker nerfs kind of hurt him, but it didn't hurt him as bad as, like, other top laners, such as, like, Riven and, Darius, and other champs like that. Or I think Renekton is just solid no matter what you blind it into.
And on the flip side of the coin, though, in game two, you were on the more supportive, let's say, side of the matchup in the tank fight top lane. And moving forward into game two, this was the game where BBZ did heavily invest a lot of their resources into trying to get you down with the vulnerable red side ganks. So let's start with Jita again on this. What were your thoughts on game two? This was when you had the Kindred jungle swap up for you folks, and then Idris, you moved into the mid lane on this Echo pick that you pulled out. Give us your thoughts on how this game went. Jita, we'll start with you because you were getting heavily pressured on this top side, and then Idris, give me your thoughts as well.
Well, during draft, we had a plan going into it. Like, we would give them a certain pick, and we would leave Lucian open so we could pick it. And then when we were picking my champion, we had 1 second left, and I accidentally said Gragas. And I only played Gragas once for practice. And during the game, I was tilted out of my fucking mind. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I expected it, but I didn't expect it that hard, right? Like, I couldn't even fucking breathe in top lane. This guy has mom and dad up there with him. Big Daddy Jax and fucking Mother Orphic.
Yeah, he had his third and fourth summoner spell constantly on cooldown. Just bringing in Dax and Orphic. Idris, what about you moving into the mid lane?
All I'm gonna say is I'm actually not a jungle player. I main mid lane. I've never played jungle in my life before FOF. I only played it like if I need to fill. So I'm just like a mid lane player. So I was really comfortable picking Echo mid because he's like one of my two tricks. It's like TF and Echo, and yeah, I was pretty comfortable going into it. But I'd have to say like that game was like a lot harder due to like them camping Jitta so hard. Like I knew like whenever TF would have his ult up and stuff, right? Because like I second trick him. He's like my second main, and like I knew where he was gonna go, and I immediately knew he was always gonna help to dive Jitta top because like they had so many opportunities up there. But all they did was get like their tanks ahead, which did nothing for them. So we were able to close out the game later on because of that. Our bot lane was just too far ahead.
Now, my next question that I want to ask about is actually about your bot lane. Especially, actually want to highlight Pro Lupul, who I thought was absolutely cracked in this series, dude. This guy, I think shout out Josh calling him a map terrorist, dude. This guy was everywhere, man. He was on the corner of every screen. You see this Leona coming out of nowhere. Give me your thoughts, Idris, and then Gita about playing with Pro Lupul and what he brings to the team.
Bro, I love Pro Lupul. Imagine having a teammate that does crack, and that's Pro Lupul. Because this guy hates sitting bot lane. He'd rather, like, roam. After his first recall, you already know he's gonna, like, roam mid, and he always pings me to come too. So everyone thinks that I'm the genius on the team. I'm not smart at all. It's Pro Lupul, like, controlling me and telling me to do whatever. Like, he's the genius of our team. Respects to Pro Lupul. He's actually MVP of the series. Love that guy.
Gita, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. Playing with Pro Lupul, he's pretty much the brain of our team. Like the second game, he just macroed us to the victory.
Yeah, that Baron or that dragon fight into the end was actually perfect.
Like when Pro Lupul's feeling it, he's feeling it, but he's not feeling it. You really gotta question why you play with this guy.
Sorry, Johnny.
Live or die by the Pro Lupul
gangplank.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's look forward to the upcoming finals matchup. You guys are going to be up against now Team Universal Basic Income. What are you folks feeling about this matchup and ascending all the way to the finals in joining us here in the Luna League? Idris, let's go with you first.
Oh, okay. I feel like without a doubt, since we started this league, like our only rivals were ever UB, right? We may have like lost them at the start, right? But that was more so of my shortcomings as a jungler, right? As I said, I never played jungle before. I was just a mid laner, so I was still learning how to do like camps, ganking, like all that like normal shit at the plat like gold level. Because I was like trash at the beginning, like I'm gonna be honest. But then after like playing jungle and like flex and like scrimming with him and like watching their VODs, I feel like I'm comfortable as a jungler or flex as like mid or wherever. So I feel like I can match a utility monster, if not like do better than him in the jungle role.
Gita, what about your matchup?
I think BBZ was a harder team than UB.
Okay. Let's go.
No, I'm excited for our matchup against UB because their macro is pretty good too, and their players are all pretty good as well in their roles.
Yeah.
I remember Civil Law calling our mid one-dimensional. I'm pretty sure our mid showed this series that I can play everything.
Yeah, literally.
Let me ask you this: are either of you willing to crystal ball a prediction for the game?
Oh hell
No.
no.
No. Okay.
Dude, I can already see the meme videos coming. Like, I'm good.
I'm not trying to show up in the images and memes channel.
Actually, I'm gonna leave the trash talk channel, bro. Like that'd be the end of me.
All right.
We'll just let our gameplay talk for itself, you know.
We are gonna allow the Fifth Amendment here on this broadcast. So
yeah.
Go ahead and not incriminate yourself with any very memeable, clippable sound bites. So.
Yeah, we're not utility monster.
All right, Gita, Idris, thank you so much for this interview. Congratulations on this win and making it all the way to finals for your team. Before we step away for the evening, do you folks have any final thoughts? Any shout-outs, any banter, anything you weren't able to get out on the broadcast yet?
I remember Jeffrey called me on that video. Fuck that guy.
Yo.
No, he's cool though. He's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Everyone at BBZ is cool. I love Red. I love Orphic. Everyone in BBZ, like, you guys are great rivals. Thank you for playing, and I hope to see you guys next season.
All right, well, excuse me. Congratulations to Team H Block making it to finals, and of course, sad to see them go, but well done from BBZ making it so far here in Luna. So this will be the end of them, and we will be looking forward to seeing our finals matchup coming up next week on Monday. But tomorrow, folks, we will be having our other final. So please get ready to join us tomorrow, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, for Rex Regalis versus Restless Leg Syndrome. I almost said Ruby Light Up Sketchers. But that's it, folks, for us tonight. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this nice 3-0 evening, and we'll be back tomorrow with our first set of finals. So we'll see you tomorrow. Be well.
Woo.